Hey, Rainbow here, and welcome to my channel. So today's subject is going to be something quite the opposite of when I was giving this bike a lot of accolades. Now just hear me out on this. This bike is fantastic. Clearly, I did post a video about it. The bike is fantastic. Look right up here. Here's a link to it. It's my 16,000 mile review, but I said there were some issues and I've had some issues along the way, but we're gonna continue to talk about not just some of them, okay? Because something happened to me again. Now this is something that has been happening since the day I bought the bike, not quite as often, but when I had two things happen on the same ride, that kind of raises my red flag a little bit with this. So the first video you're gonna see here is that I was just in traffic, coming to a stop, and I used two fingers on my left hand. That's it for my clutch. Two fingers for my clutch. Keep an eye on the clutch. You'll see I was in first gear, coming to a stop, and the bike just stalled. And I'm going to play it in slow motion afterwards so that you can clearly see that I'm not letting out the clutch is in fully, and for some reason the bike just stalled. So then in the next video, what you're gonna see is that I'm coming to a stop about 20 minutes later, a couple miles up the road, and something just didn't feel right with the bike, the way it was running. And I went and I gave it some gas, and I watched the needle while I was at a light in neutral, bury below zero, and then come right back on again. And then I flicked it twice. And on the second time, it didn't return to idle, it just shut the bike right off. These are two problems that have been persistent with the bike. It doesn't happen all the time. Again, with 16,000 miles, if it was a major problem, I wouldn't have been able to get that much mileage on this bike, okay? However, what I will tell you is this has been happening since day one. Now, the third thing that has been happening, and I finally caught it on video in 4K, and I can't find the video, and I have so many hours of footage to go through, I just can't seem to remember where I put it or what day it was when we have the issue with the surging. And it's typically between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM, where you'll just be holding steady, not moving the throttle, and and it's at least a 200 RPM swing that it just surges like this. Often this happens after you're going fast and then you slow down, and then for some reason. Now, the other thing with the stalling, I'm thinking that somehow it's related to the heat, because I believe that both times I was in slower traffic and the bike was still running a little bit hotter to where sometimes the fans were kicking on. But they may not be the case. Either way, for a bike to just stall like that with no explanation and no error codes, don't understand that. For it to stall when I just flick a little bit like this, the throttle, and then it stalls, That's another problem. And I have always been able to do that and reproduce these all the time. Now, I will be taking this to the Ducati dealership for them to look at. The last time I had a problem where the bike wouldn't even start. It was stalling and then it wouldn't start. And I took it there, and from it being delivered, they started it right up, wasn't a problem. So I attributed the problem with starting to maybe some bad fuel, because when it was delivered, it was lifted up to get put on the trailer and then put back down again twice. Once to get on, once to get off to the dealer, and that may have shooken some things up, and the bike started right up, put some fresh gas in it, it was fine. As far as why it was stalling, frequently I was attributing that to my side stand spring, which I have a video about that, okay? Now, these three items, two of them are important to me. One of them with the surging, I can care less about, because you can pretty much clear it by just stopping and then starting again. I don't mean shutting the bike off, just stopping and starting the throttle. You'll kind of clear it, or go above 5,000 RPM and it clears. That doesn't affect me. Stalling at an intersection with the clutch pulled in and in first gear, and again, look at it in slow motion. That clutch didn't move. Those two fingers held that in perfectly, and the bike just stalled. That's a problem. Grabbing the throttle and just quickly flicking it and having it shut off, that's a problem. Now, I don't know if I have the most recent update with the firmware for this computer and the TFT. I don't know. I'll find out, because I'm going to get this bike serviced soon. But when I take it back this time to get looked at, I'm going to have the clear expectations that they're going to start breaking things down a little bit more, and maybe looking at it diagnostically, checking things out a little bit more. One of the other things that has never happened before, that is now happening more often, is I will bring it into the garage just right here. Everything will be fine. I'll go put my gear away. I'll walk by, everything's fine. And then I'll come down about an hour later, and there's a very strong smell of gas. Very, very strong smell of gas. That never really happened before. Nothing's leaking. There's nothing on the floor. Don't know where it's coming from, but the vapors are coming out as the bike is cooling off. Not sure what that's all about, but that's also new. So these are some of the things that I'm hoping Ducati has straightened out with the new Pikes Peak version, or this is just an anomaly for my particular bike. Now, I have had some people on the website and here on YouTube comment that they've noticed the issue with the surging before, but I haven't had anyone talk about why it's stalling. And again, it's starting to stall again. And you'll see when I stalled, I looked down because I was wondering if I had bumped the kickstand down or something, but that wasn't the case. And with the new spring on the kickstand, it shouldn't be an issue at all. So anyway, these are the items. Again, if you go back and watch it again, or I'll put it up again in slow motion, you'll clearly see that with the two fingers, I brought this clutch in, never left it out. It wasn't like I stalled it because I was trying to go anywhere. It was rock solid in, not moving, and the bike just stalled. So this you will definitely get some feedback on from me. I will do updates on this when I find out what's going on. But this time when I take it back to the dealership, I'm going to have a very clear expectation that they're going to take this in, tear it apart a little bit, and look at it, because it's still under warranty, and these items need to be addressed. The last time they weren't addressed because we felt as though it wasn't an issue, it was a bad gas in the side spring. But now that it's continuing to happen, something needs to be broken down. It could be a kinked hose, it could be a bad sensor somewhere that's causing a problem. It could be a cylinder head sensor, who knows what it is, but something isn't right here. And actually, one person did comment that they had a similar issue, and it ended up being a loose sensor on a cylinder head that came from the factory. Now, what sensor, I don't know. But it was in one of the comments when I brought this up. Anyway, please like, please subscribe. This is Rainbow. Don't like to be negative, because I gave this a stellar review, because this is a fantastic motorcycle. It just has some little things that need to be corrected, and the way everything is so technologically advanced today, with computer systems and sensors and hoses that are routed, all through the thing, and it had a whole bunch of front end work done. It's probably something really simple, or at least I hope so. But overall, this is a fantastic bike. I'm the only one I'm aware that's having these kind of issues. So hopefully this will be taken care of at the next time I take it to the Ducati dealership. This is Rainbow. Like and subscribe. Have yourself a great day. And I'm out of here.